So during my after action review process, I have to watch a ton of motorcycle crashes and a ton of motorcycle close calls. And what I found is that there's about 4 or 5 common denominators when it comes to the motorcycle crashes or close calls. And it's all gonna be the motorcyclist. So guys, what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be talking about 5 common causes of motorcycle crashes and how to prevent them. The beautiful thing about it being the motorcyclist's fault is that we have control over how we fix them. If it was always this truck's fault, Jeep's fault, or this other truck's fault, I don't have control of what they're doing. So I'm actually thankful that it's typically the motorcycle rider's fault. So the biggest one that I typically see is that people tend to panic brake. That is terrible. Panic braking is usually caused by a lack of situational awareness, because if you are situationally aware and you understood this was happening, this was about to happen, and you're paying attention to all the flows of traffic and what's happening with driver behavior, then you typically won't become a panic braker. You more than likely will be, okay, I got an engine brake, or apply progressive brake pressure. So typically what happens is that when you're going out and you're riding, you're supposed to be in a yellow stage. White stage is when you're sleeping. Yellow stage is kind of how I am right now. I'm zoned in, paying attention, looking around. Orange stage is when you see a hazard pop up, like typically it's going to be an intersection. So when I travel through this intersection, I'll be in orange stage. And then you have red stage, where you're utilizing your skills that you have practiced, like emergency swerve or emergency braking. And then if you get all the way down to brown stage, you basically don't do what you're supposed to do and you poop yourself. So we do not want to be in brown stage. We want to stay in yellow and then maybe orange, if that, while we're riding. Hopefully you never have to use red stage. So when people panic brake, what happens is that they're way too close to the vehicle in front of them. So if this person applied the brakes and I wasn't paying attention, I'm just looking at this camera while they're applying the brakes, and all of a sudden I look up and be like, oh crap, and I grab a fistful of front brake, that's gonna be the common cause of that type of accident. Now, how do we prevent that? Well, like I said, with the whole awareness chart and the situational awareness, we need to be giving ourselves that space cushion. As you can tell, I have this massive space cushion between the vehicle in front of me. You can actually see 1, 2, and 3 car lengths, basically, is in between this. Now, that is gonna give me a good opportunity to see if there's anything happening, especially around them. I have good line of sight. And then on top of that, it allows me to have this stopping distance, so I can utilize my progressive brake pressure. Now that this is a good opportunity that this person got in front of me, I'm gonna roll off the throttle, and that's gonna engine brake for me, and that's gonna allow me to open up the space cushion even more if I have to. Also, not paying attention to what is it called, a red light. Well, I don't even know why I said it like that, but what is a red light is that a lot of people aren't paying attention and they're gonna slam the brakes. Another thing here is that you're gonna have all these people want to get into my lane because it's the shortest one, and you got to watch out for that so you don't panic. So once again, rider behavior, if you want to learn more about that, please subscribe, because I do after action reviews weekly and I make sure I talk about these topics and what to look out for. All right, so we're going to jump into the next one. I'm going to keep my eyes open for all these things. And this is going to be a great opportunity because there's quite a bit of people here waiting to turn. Now, it's right there, that's a waiting to turn left in front of us. But we also have people, especially if we're in the right lane, is that here's waiting to turn, but then here's also waiting to turn. So you have this blue vehicle waiting to turn. What happens is that people have terrible judge of speed, not only just for car drivers, but definitely for motorcycle riders. You see how I'm keeping my space cushion, no panic for this vehicle? Look at that, perfect. Now I got a red light coming. So what's happening there is they're not paying attention, or they are paying attention, but they can't just judge our speed. So how do we fix that? What you do is that you start to present yourself a little better. Humans are able to react a lot better with light. So light is gonna be the biggest thing. High vis gear can help you out a little bit, but the one thing that people definitely see are lights. We are trained to see lights. We're trained to see fire lights. We're trained to see police lights, all those different things. So what do we have on our motorcycle that will help us out in that situation? Our headlight. So what we do is make it move. So just go ahead and move it a little bit, just like this. We're not doing enough to where we're gonna cause ourselves to lose traction, but just enough to where it's like, oh, that light is moving back and forth like this. That is going to allow us to be seen, and hopefully that person sees us. But if not, because I have sun to my back and people looking my way can't see because the sun's blaring on them, is get prepared. Go to that orange stage if you absolutely have to, and reach and hover for those brakes just in case, and get ready for that red stage if you have to swerve or emergency brake. The next thing that I see quite a bit is that people do not understand that things in your path of travel will cause you to crash. So the path of travel is me basically right here, and then anything where I'm going. So it can be backwards, side to side, straight ahead, but right now it's gonna be straight ahead. So one of the biggest things that I see is that people do not see debris on the road, which is gonna be a road surface hazard, or this guy waiting to turn left in front of me. Okay, you stay there, not in my path of travel. Another thing is that you have vehicles all of a sudden merging into your lane and applying the brakes, which will cause that panic braking. So always keeping your eyes scanning. So what I'm doing right now is it's the red light way up ahead, is that I'm looking at the red light, ratcheting back to here, going forward, ratcheting back, going forward, ratcheting back, like a ratchet strap if you ever haul a motorcycle. So that is what I'm doing. I'm consistently looking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth at the ground. That's gonna give me a good line of sight so that I could see what's happening ahead of time. Also, just a quick little tidbit is that whenever you come to an intersection like this and you have to stop, take a look at everything. So we're gonna jump into the next one, and the next one is gonna be gravel. So you see all this gravel right here? You see how the road changes from like a dark to like a light? That is a bunch of gravel. So if I had to make a left turn through here for some reason, if I accelerated super hard and hit that gravel, it's gonna cause me to have that loss of traction. Also, you got a lot of oil and debris on the ground. So oil, debris, and gravel, anything that's gonna be a loss of traction is gonna be one of the biggest things that I've seen on these after action reviews, especially when in the middle of a turn. So the way things work with the tire is that your tires have to be warmed up. The tires have to be warm so that it's going to be malleable. It's going to be able to go into the asphalt and all the aggregate, all the rock that is on the asphalt on the ground. So what gravel is going to do is that it's going to be a barrier between your tires and the ground. And that is not something you want to do, especially when you're applying any type of acceleration, deceleration, or turning. So acceleration is throttle usage. Deceleration is also rolling up throttle and do some engine braking, but then also having progressive brake pressure to that front or rear tire. And then turning is turning. So you need traction for all of those things, and gravel or any type of debris is going to reduce that to where if you apply any of that, it's going to cause you to basically dump that bike. So what you want to do if you have any debris, like anything at all on the ground, like sand, maybe some rocks, is you're gonna wanna go over it nice and smoothly and as upright as possible. If you're going over it straight like this, if there's a bunch of gravel in my path, what I'm gonna do is just go over it nice and straight and relax a little bit. I'm not gonna put a lot of acceleration, a lot of deceleration, no braking, no turning on it. Also, if it's an actual object, go ahead and stick your butt up just a little bit and go over the object if you cannot avoid it. So right now I'm in orange stage because I have all this traffic around me, kind of feel boxed in. So far, everything has to do with seeing the hazard ahead of time, making sure that you're zoned in, not zoned out, and then utilizing your skills the appropriate way by not getting into that brown stage. So one thing that I do see quite a bit is people's about to miss their turn, or they're getting up to an area where they have to turn, but they're going way too fast. So the next one is gonna be too much speed through a corner. So we have this corner coming up ahead, and what I need to do is set up for this corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and slow down, relax, and get myself ready for this, okay? So right now I'm in orange stage just because I have this vehicle behind me, and then I also need to make this turn because I gotta look and ratchet myself to see if there's any debris, looking left, looking this way, looking left, looking forward, doing it nice and easy. See how that was just a super easy, nice turn? A lot of people, what they do is that in the middle of the turn, because they were not paying attention, that there's either a vehicle coming or there's road debris in the ground, and what they do is in the middle of the turn, they accelerate through it, and what that's gonna do is you're gonna lose traction on that rear tire, dump the bike. So as a beginner rider or an intermediate rider, you should not be doing that, and you should be setting up prior to the turn. So we're gonna do another turn coming up here, just so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about specifically. So we have this turn right here. It's a right turn only lane. What I'm gonna be doing is setting up, using my indication, looking around, downshifting prior to the turn, and utilizing this big area as a way to slow it down. Now right here, once again, I'm gonna look, there's any debris, nobody coming, no debris, nice and easy. That's it. That's all you have to do, especially if you're coming into a turn or into a parking lot like this. Now we're gonna do a U-turn even though there's a bunch of gravel by keeping the bike upright. So that's a little extra tidbit. The only other situation that you're gonna have when it comes to these turns, especially at a higher rate of speed, is that when you get to an intersection and you're about to make a left turn but it turns yellow on you. So a lot of people tend to accelerate through that turn and once again cause themselves to dump the bike because they lose traction on that rear tire either through gravel or too much acceleration mid-turn, or too much lean angle of the bike itself. Everything here is dictated by how situationally aware you are. If you can see the hazard ahead of time, if you notice that it's a stagnant green light like it is right now, should I gun it to this green light and try to make this left turn? No, I'm gonna go ahead and take my time, and if I absolutely have to stay at this light, I will stay at this light. Knowing that there's certain hazards, like people coming into my path of travel like this, I'm gonna go ahead and present myself so that my light is bobbing back and forth. Also, we have all this debris on the ground, so I'm gonna avoid this debris. We have somebody else coming into my path of travel. I'm gonna go ahead and slow down because now this person's slowing down so I can have more of a space cushion. We have this person wanting to come out, this person wanting to come out. I'm gonna go ahead and accelerate through the hazard and get away from this, and then get back into a safe spot. You're consistently doing this day in, day out, every second of the ride, and what you need to be doing is paying attention. That is the biggest thing here, guys. Pay attention so that we can get rid of these common hazards that we see pretty much people with good skills not avoiding. So with that said, I hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and if you like this whole where I travel and I talk about certain hazards while I'm riding, please click that subscribe button and let me know in the comments, because I love doing Ride Along with Dan the Fireman, where I can show you everything that could possibly kill me while I'm riding.